皆さんこんにちは。江口博之です。
Hello, I'm Stuart Varnamakin.
今日のテーマは富士山です。Stuart?
Yes.
I'm sure you have many thoughts on Mt. Fuji.
Yes, indeed. But I think the most important thing is its beautiful conical shape, which rarely fails to impress people seeing it for the first time. And it's great that you can enjoy the seasonal differences in its appearance.
I agree. I think it's really a natural artwork.
It really is.
それでは3分間のビデオクリップを日本語字幕でお楽しみください。
At 3,776 meters, Mount Fuji is Japan's highest mountain, and the Japanese have felt a deep affinity with it since ancient times. Its shape is the result of repeated volcanic eruptions, which began around 100,000 years ago. Mount Fuji, a symbol of Japan, is well known worldwide. The appearance of the mountain varies constantly, according to the changing seasons and even the passage of time during the course of a day. The reasons for this are related to Mount Fuji's location and its conical shape, sweeping upward unbroken from the coastal plain. Moisture-laden winds blowing off the ocean hit the side of the mountain and are forced upwards, creating many different shapes of clouds. For example, clouds like this that look like a giant bamboo hat are known as kasagumo, literally bamboo hat clouds. And this phenomenon, which can be seen when the sun comes up from behind the summit of the mountain, is called Diamond Fuji. Against the sunlight, the silhouette of the mountain stands out very clearly. The appearance of Mount Fuji keeps changing, yet it remains awesome and beautiful at all times. Mount Fuji has been an object of worship for centuries. Countless numbers of people have dreamed of climbing it at least once in their lifetime. In the early 19th century, some people unable to make the pilgrimage to the mountain would sometimes create a miniature version of Mount Fuji called Fujizuka, literally Mound Fuji, in an area close to where they lived. These mounds served as substitutes for the real thing. Mount Fuji has also been the subject of many paintings and poems. Katsushige Hokusai, who lived during the late Edo period, created a series of woodblock prints depicting scenes including the mountain in a wide range of compositions. It's called 36 Views of Mount Fuji. This is one of Hokusai's masterpieces, Red Fuji. It's thought that the artist managed to capture a very brief moment when Mount Fuji, bathed in the early morning sun, glows red. This is another well-known print in the series. Hokusai created a great sense of depth by contrasting the large barrel frame with the tiny peak of Mount Fuji that can be seen through it. From time immemorial, Mount Fuji has been etched into Japanese hearts as an everlasting presence. The beautiful mountain is really like a mother to the Japanese.
Stuart?
Yes.
Any comments?
Well, the making of those mound Fujis, miniature versions of the real mountain, was a rather charming idea. I think it shows the strength of the Japanese affinity with Mount Fuji.
Yes, you're right. Many of those Fujizuka still exist, even in Tokyo.
Oh.
And there are some you can actually climb.
Oh, really? Let's go and visit one.
All right.
フリートークのコーナーです。富士山の話からイギリスを代表する風景の話へとさまざまな話題が飛び出しました。
Stuart?
Yes.
What I think is wonderful about Mount Fuji is that its appearance changes depending on the place from where you see it.
Right.
Do you have any particular favorite Mount Fuji viewing spot?
Well, one of my favourite views is from the western coast of the Mura Peninsula, where I lived for a while. Mount Fuji is around 80 kilometres away from there, so I was amazed one clear winter's night to see the snow-covered mountain gleaming in the moonlight. Do you have any favourite spots?
Well, I have many favorites. One of them is the bank of the Edogawa River in Shibamata. What impresses me is that even today we can see Mount Fuji across the metropolis despite all the high-rise buildings, which means people in the old days could see it from virtually anywhere in the city. I suppose Mount Fuji was probably far closer to them than it is to Tokyoites today.
In a way, that's true for foreigners too. In the days before planes, the ships arriving at Yokohama were usually scheduled to arrive in Tsuruga Bay in the early morning, so that if they were lucky, the passengers' first view of Japan would be Mount Fuji.
Right. But they often called it Fujiyama, right?
Right, yes. In fact, when I was a young boy, there was a picture in my encyclopedia of Fujiyama, and that name has long been used in the West.
And Japanese restaurants in foreign countries are often named Fujiyama, even though we call it Fujisan.
Well, that kind of different usage of names is really interesting. But whatever it's called, it's always been one of the common symbols of Japan, along with geisha and cherry blossoms.
Well, to the Japanese, from being basically an object of worship, Mount Fuji became gradually a symbol of the country too. Well, what would you say is the equivalent British national symbol?
Well, I suppose Big Ben and Tower Bridge in London are familiar British icons today. As for natural features, well, the White Cliffs of Dover used to be a powerful symbol because they were the first thing people saw approaching by sea from Europe. But today most people fly or go through the Channel Tunnel.
I see. I've only seen the White Cliffs in photos, but they look spectacular.
Yes, they are. But their appearance doesn't change as much or as spectacularly as Mount Fuji's does. And to see them properly, you have to be on a boat in the English Channel.